Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Quincy Chronicles. I'm Simon Elma, and I'm here with Tiftifby.
Hello.
Today, we're talking about Cour 1 of Thousand Year Blood War, the Blood Warfare.
The story that started all this crazy shenanigans.
Indeed, it did, since we wanted to do a bit more talking about Ryuken, and, for his birthday, that this is hopefully going to go out on March 14th.
Happy birthday!
Yes, happy birthday to our Grumpy Pants Quincy Daddy Ryuken. And we didn't get a chance to cover, Cour 1 and 2 before, so, we wanted to go back and, touch on those. So, yeah, here we are.
Indeed.
Guess we should start with the beginning of, the Quincy King and seeing the Kaiser Gay song of him at the start over the Quincy King and him, because, yeah, he's going to start making his move now after all this time he's been recovering.
The confined Quincy King regains his pulse after 900 years, his mind after 90 years, his strength after 9 years, and finally, the world in 9 days. Starts off as like a normal day in Karakura town, and then we see someone snapping some hollow bait. Just as some newbie Soul Reapers are arriving.
Right, yeah. I did not know there was hollow bait there because I could not see it.
Yeah, that's the only downside about the new art style, that it gets really dark when it's nighttime.
Yeah, it is so dark. I've needed you to help me through this Thousand Year Blood War. The new art style is cool and all, but it is way harder to see than the original Bleach, that's for sure.
Yes.
But yeah, this opening scene throughout the Karakura town with the Soul Reapers encountering the Hollows, and then the gang being back and being highlighted and featured and all joining together to fight the Hollows. We see Ichigo or Hime, Chad, Uryu, just them all together and being spotlighted. It's very theatrical. It's kind of like the start of a movie.
And also an introduction or reintroduction to longtime fans. These are the characters you know and love. Slight upgrade.
Oh, indeed, for sure.
Uryu being a show-off as usual.
Yes, of course, we get to see Best Boy Uryu just with his new bow that seems to be more of a traditional bow than his Ginrei Kojaku. Him being so pretty and getting a little touch of spotlight with his leash dragon.
Ichigo having to avoid all the arrows.
No need to thank me.
You can't tell me he didn't do that on purpose.
Oh, totally. And then Ichigo and Uryu bickering like an old married couple again. Just like old times.
Yep, you can always count on those two having a bit of a slag off, as they like to say in Britain.
For sure.
And of course, they get the Soul Reapers back to be healing. And of course, Ichigo gets an unwelcome visitor.
He does. Some stranger on his bed.
Who he proceeds to kick out. Quite literally.
Yes, very literally. It's Uryu has hypothesized that he is an Arrancar due to the mask that he is wearing, being an Arrancar mask. Uryu knows that Ichigo's got this, Ryunosuke, who they're helping, he's yeah, should we, go after him and help Ichigo? And once Ichigo runs after the intruder, and Uryu's no, it's fine. He knows what he's doing. We'd probably just get in his way.
And Orihime giggles, knowing that he may say he doesn't care, but he does care.
He does, and the look he gives Orihime when she
Like,
like calls him out for being Ichigo's friend, he's like it's just he's so flustered and cute.
he's like, what'd you say? It's like, don't tell him that.
Don't call me out on being his friend. Like, they don't need to know that. I'm not friends with the Soul Reaper. I am a Quincy. We find out like this Arankar Eber, and he appears to be more of a Quincy, using Quincy powers, trying to steal Ichigo's Bankai with their Bankai plundering technique. He takes out the medallion the Quincy's used to steal Bankai and says the incantation. Melt. Sea to cloud, cloud to rain, rain to fog. That was shape to that which is unseen. After our jubilation, the chalice will be turned face down. He tries to steal Ichigo's Bankai, but that fails, which surprises him, because, yeah, he doesn't know why it is, but it's probably because, what we learn of Ichigo later. But yeah, and then a shadow appears to take him away back to the Quincy's. The shadows for the chosen.
With that warning left behind, we see the other people dressed in white seemingly attack the Soul Society and kill the lieutenant of Squad 1, Chojiro Sasakibe. Poor guy, R.I.P.
Yeah, that was rough. They kill a lot of people in that first attack. The guy declaring war and everyone return to the Quincy King, who we finally see. He just rewards their services with, disposing of them.
You said your purpose, bye.
I'm done with you. Your usefulness is up. Yep.
Sometime afterwards, Nell and Pesce crash land into Karakura Town, revealing that Wakamoto has been attacked.
Yes, I believe we see some of the others, go off on their own a little pensively, you mentioned, Chad running and stuff, and Uryu looking at his Quincy cross. Yeah. And Ichigo calls everybody back into his house to discuss what's going on with Wakamundo and their new visitors.
We find out that Don Chaka was among those Arrancar who were captured.
Yes, because Wakamundo is under attack by, this enemy. Chad and Orihime are very quick to be like, yeah, we're going with you. You didn't have to ask. We're with you, Ichigo. And Uryu, on the other hand, is,
he pretty much says he can't go because he's a Quincy, most of all, and he can't be seen helping out his enemy.
Because I am a Quincy. I can't be helping out Hollows or Rancars.
Ichigo was like, yeah, I know. I just wanted to ask you anyway because I know you'd throw a tantrum if I didn't consult you.
Yep, and Uryu is very, very cute again. Starting bickering with him.
Old married couple.
Yes. The married couple, Uryu is just don't treat me like that. Yeah, because he probably would go if he could, but,
And who should appear but Kisuke? I swear he just stalks Ichigo for a living.
Yes, he's just there the whole time, waiting for the right moment to pop up, because he was trolling them. And he takes them all to Wakamundo, minus Uryu.
And they encounter some absolute asshole.
Pompous asshole, yep.
Yep. Hyuga Opie, the J of the Stone Ritter. And he decides basically to be judge, jury, and executioner to the Arrancar.
He sure does.
Shout out to Xander Mobus for voicing him because he really wrote that I'm better than everyone attitude.
Oh yeah, he sure nailed that.
Just gonna say, careful, your crow's showing.
Yep, he's just killing the Arankars that try to speak out against him, that aren't
And
worthy of serving his majesty.
and several Rankar try to stop, including Loli and Manoli, and the Tribe, that serve my favorite girl, Hadibel.
Yeah. Though, they put up a. Loli and Manoli don't really do much against him, though he would have taken them back with him until the Trebestia start attacking, who seem to do decently and keep him busy until Ichigo can show up.
And they have to bring out the little. I'm just gonna say that I'd say that baby, but that is one ugly looking baby.
Yeah, that's some creature, all right.
And even that can't stop him.
And then, Ichigo starts challenging him, and he's very surprised to be attacked by Quincy arrows from a spear, and mentions, like, I guess your arrows are stronger than Uryu's, and bringing Uryu into this fight. Kyuge being surprised that Uryu Ishida's hitting file is weaker than his, and he does not believe that to be possible. And then, of course, he also starts bringing Soken into things by talking about Lichtstele.
Keep Soken's name out of your mouth, sir.
No kidding. Saying that the only one who would use such an obsolete relic as Lichtstele would be Soken Ishida.
Hey, don't mess with the classics, sir.
No, no. Uryu's Lichtstele was beautiful.
Yeah.
Though it did have the terrible drawback of losing his powers, but then we see Kyuge bring out the Quincy Volstandich, which does not have that kind of drawback. And Ichigo is like, well, I'm glad Uryu doesn't have this, because I really don't want to see him turn into this kind of monster like you.
Ooh, if only you knew what was going to happen there.
Yes, if only he knew how beautiful our boy was going to be in cour with his own Volstandich that he finally gets. Speaking of our beautiful boy Uryu, we see him trying to research the Quincy's on his own back home.
He basically has to sneak into the library. And, of course, Ryuken busts him.
Yes, indeed. I seem to remember telling you not to come in here without my permission.
The Soul Society's under attack, and Waku Mundo's been invaded. And from the looks of it, it's Quincy's. But there are no more Quincy's exist besides us. So what's up? What do you know?
None of this even remotely concerns you. Drop it.
Don't you brush me aside. Not again. I am the last Quincy there is. I need to know. I have a right to know.
The answer you're looking for, you won't find it here.
And of course, poor Uryu is basically stumped for clues until he realizes you won't find it here means you won't find it in this room.
Yes, as he is pensively looking down at his Quincy cross again and thinking of his poor master as he's trying to find answers.
And so he heads into Ryuken's office. And what should he find? A certain journal. He goes to read it and starts seeing some pretty shocking stuff about the Quincy past. And of course, Ryuken finds him there again.
Now you're in my room without permission? That's twice now.
You've read this, right? Is it true? What's written in here? I see. So you've known everything all along. About the Vondenreich. About the one who's leading them. About Mom, even.
Ryu, I told you, this doesn't concern you.
course, Ryuken pisses Uryu off to the point where he's like, okay, screw you. I'm out of here.
Yeah, he just like storms out, and Ryuken just has the luck. Like, he's just, he's kind of done with his son, but he also, probably feels for
Well, I
him.
tried. I tried to warn him.
I did my best to shield him from this. Just please stay away from it.
Yeah, but this is Uryu we're talking about. That's not going to happen.
No, it is not.
This is roughly the first time we've seen Ryuken in Thousand Year Blood War. And I couldn't help but notice that he sounds a little different this time.
Yeah, you're right. He does sound different. Like, I can notice that too, since, I'm pretty good with voice actors, especially Steve.
It sounds like the previous actor was Michael McConaughey. He previously did him from episode 44 all the way up to 345. This new actor is Christopher Swindle. He's also done quite a few roles in it as well. I think he's also Sajin this time as well.
Yeah, I think you're right, and he does a pretty good job as Ryuken. I believe he's doing both, like this current Ryuken when he's older, and the past Ryuken that we get to later over in Everything But the Rain that we will get to.
Yeah, I think he did a pretty good job. He doesn't sound too old, but he doesn't sound too young either when he's playing him in the current timeline.
Yeah, I do too, but I did like the original actor who did him as well. He did sound a bit like lower in tone, whereas this one is slightly more softer to his tone, I find.
Well, the attitude down 100% though.
But yeah, I did like the original actor too, and it'll be good to see that again when we get back to him in the original episodes, since it's been a while since we watched them, and now we know what Ryuken is like who he is and why he is the way he is. So it'll be interesting to like go back to that and rewatch things now that we know about Ryuken.
It also puts his, I'm going to say, friendship question mark with Ishin into perspective as well, because he kind of accidentally stole his fiance.
Yeah, there's that. They're good buddies, and their scenes together are fun, especially in like the filler bits.
I think my favorite is when he starts firing arrows and chases him, yelling, "Fathers should take responsibility for their children's actions."
Yes, or like showing the little photo of Chibi Uryu.
Oh, he does care. He has a heart.
He does. Though, with how cruel he was to Uryu in the beginning, like when we first see him, I did not like him very much at first, as hard as that is to say.
Yeah, same here.
But yes, we love Ryuken now.
He won us over in the end.
Yeah, he did. But that's a fun scene. I really like that scene between Uryu and Ryuken because, the lines are so good and the acting is amazing, and they both nail it.
Oh, yeah.
Even if Christopher Swindle is a new actor, he worked really well with Steve.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that part's always fun to do with you. I mean, we do have our versions. We did of them before, too.
We should probably do another one at some point.
Oh, we definitely can, somewhere in the future. Maybe, we'll talk about June 17th at some point. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I did that from memory. Yay!
Same here.
Yay!
Same here. Of course, we fandom this, which you can find in our channels.
Yes, indeed you can, and I will link those below.
Back at Suikamundo, obviously the fight is still going on. And it gets pretty brutal to the point where both Chad and Orihime get pretty brutal injuries given to them.
Oh, damn, okay.
like holes like right through their sides.
Ouch. Ichigo is able to piss off Kilge enough, like when he starts using Skillere. Is that how you say it?
Labre or something like that.
Yes. When he starts using that to control like his like ion and stuff through like the reishi, Ichigo figures out that, oh, if I just break the disc over your head, you're not going to be able to control any more reishi, which very much pisses Kilge off that he has the gall to even try and do that. And being pissed off, switching his Blutvena to offensive instead of the defensive one, Kisuke is able to get in a nice good shot and take him out.
Just goes to show that Ichigo can have a bit of a tactical mind when it comes to battle.
A little bit. A little bit.
It just gives me vibes of Teen Titans. I still have a brain, I just don't use it much.
They think that Kilge is down and out and dead, but they didn't account for...
Ranzo Tengai, I think it's called. A move that Uryu's used before. Ranzo Tengai, I think it's called.
Yes.
Uryu has used before.
Yeah, the move that Uryu used to, make their limbs keep going after, not being able to move. That's more like a technique for the elderly, but yeah, Kilge uses that and is able to, trap Ichigo when they thought he was, like, dead and out, and put Ichigo in jail.
While this is happening on, the Quincy's are invading the Soul Society, and the captains are getting prepared for war.
They are fighting the Quincy's, who have appeared with Yuhabaha, their king, and starting to, steal Bankais that, like, they're trying to do with Ichigo, but this time it actually works.
Toshiro, Soifon, Zaijin, they lose their Bankai. And Byakuya loses his Bankai to a particularly creepy-looking guy named Arsenault. Ugh.
Yeah.
He's the one character besides Mayuri who literally gives me the creeps. I was shuddering every time he was on the screen.
Oh, I know. Like, I could even see how creepy that guy was. Oh, he does not look pleasant. And poor Byakuya, like, he gets Byakuya, like, really good, like, literally crippling him with fear. And just seeing Byakuya go through that, and
yeah, that was rough. I know he's your favorite, but eesh.
Yeah, he is one of my favorites, and just like, man, he went through it. And like the first time we watched this, like, I really thought that he was dying and like dead, was just like the emotion in his voice, and it's just like, oh man, like, no, not Byakuya.
It was hard seeing someone as strong as Byakuya lose hope.
I know, like, it was just heartbreaking seeing Byakuya like that, especially like once, like, Ichigo breaks free and is finally able to come to the Soul Society and everything.
But as he was trying to get through, oh my god, of hearing all the screams, hearing everyone pleading for help, and hearing how distraught and afraid Ichigo sounded. Johnny just absolutely brought it.
Oh yeah, those screams of Ichigo's were also very heart-wrenching and heartbreaking. Like, oh man, like, the feels with Ichigo. Like, yeah, Johnny nailed it.
Absolutely. And the pure rage you could see in Ichigo's eyes when he was talking to Byakuya. That's the kind of rage of a good man who goes to war.
Yeah, it's like Byakuya, like, is asking Ichigo, like, one last request to save the Soul Society, and like, that really did sound like it was it for Byakuya, that he was dead, just like the pain and strain in his voice. Like, yeah, I legit thought that he was dead. Of course, fan service. Fan favorite.
Can't kill the fan favorite. You cannot kill the fan favorite.
I mean, like, it's good he's not dead, because he is one of my favorites, but at the same time, it might have been better if he had stayed dead, like, had died there, like he probably should have, then.
It really brings up the stakes.
Yeah, like raising the stakes and having characters actually die and have it be more
Making it dead.
impactful. Like him, like not being dead kind of lessens the impact of that scene, I find. But I mean, it's still good he's alive again. But
We do get a quite gut-wrenching death with Yamamoto.
yeah, it's like they do have the high stakes with other characters dying, like Chojiro, Yamamoto, a bit later on Unohana as well. Which those are big characters we've seen throughout the whole like entire series, and just like kind of a smack in the face that they're dead too. But yeah, it's good to have
Yeah.
those high stakes to make it seem more like real and believable that this is like really a dark war, and it's not pleasant. It's just depressing. And yeah, oh, and Izuru possibly dying too, which kind of another favorite there.
Yeah.
But yeah, oh man, the stakes there. They're just, you do see them. They're brutal, but kind of a bit of a lesser impactful blow with Byakuya not dying. Even though I'm happy he's alive.
True. The fire battle. Oof. That was intense. We see how strong the head captain truly is, with how his Bankai was able to evaporate every drop of body of water in the Soul Society.
Oh yeah, totally. Like,
So hot.
yeah, Yamamoto and Yuhabaha going at it, like, oh boy, those are two very, very big powers just clashing, and it's intense. Like, even I can see all that fire. And I can actually see, like, the majority of the battle pretty well just because it's illuminated in all that firelight. And Yuhabaha bringing out the big guns, trying to bring out a Quincy power that annihilates anyone who tries to step into a Quincy Cross-esque kind of zone. Like Spranger, but more powerful.
Kirkin Lied, Sankt Swinger, means church song in German. Basically, it takes on the forms like some sort of crown-like structure, but it's made of like the Quincy crosses you see when the Volständig is activated. And it's like glowing blue.
Well, Yamamoto counters it by resurrecting Yuhabaha's dead comrades.
Oof. Just oof.
Who we now know as like being his original royal guard. Like we hear their names, and now we have like characters to actually put the names to after like going through the series.
Mm. And eventually, Yamamoto defeats Yuhabaha, but oddly to find out that the person he's been fighting was in fact a copy of the real Yuhabaha.
Yes, he was actually the Sternritter Y, the yourself.
Because Yuhabaha had in fact been talking to one of the ones he classes the 5 biggest threats to the Quincy, Sosuke Aizen. The 5 special threats. It was Aizen, Ichigo, Kenpachi, Ichibei, and Kisuke.
Yeah, Kisuke makes sense, since he's such a troll, but I guess Quincy's don't make that list because, I'm really surprised that Ryuken and Uryu aren't on there. Since Ryuken is pissed at Yuhabaha for killing his wife. And we all know the Ishidas are the ones he really has to worry about and watch out for.
Mm-hmm. Uryu especially because he's the sole survivor of the Auschwitz. Ryuken would definitely be a special threat because not only is he Soken's son and inheritor of his power, but he's probably a lot more powerful than we seem to know or give credit for him.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. I mean, those are our boys, and yeah, they're gonna take down Yuhabaha one of these days. The Ishidas are the real special threats.
Hey.
Yeah, with a certain like silver arrowhead and all that.
And of course, Uryu is stubborn as hell.
Yep, but so is Ryuken, and again, he is pissed off.
Yeah. Rule number one of Auschweilen. Don't kill the wife.
Or try to kill son.
Too true. Too true.
You killed my mother. Prepare to die.
Of course, he tries to get Aizen to work with him, and then Aizen's like, why would I join you with you?
Yes, sure, we want the same goals, but I'm the only one who's going to achieve those goals. Goodbye.
Aizen just wants the throne for himself, as they say.
He does. So, yeah, Yuhabaha returns to the front lines for real this time. He's able to steal Yamamoto's Bankai because he's the only one strong enough to handle it. And then he resurrects Yamamoto's subordinates to use against him. And is actually able to kill him.
This, of course, leaves the Soul Society completely bereft, because that was the one who was basically founded 13 Court Guard Squad and was there from the very beginning, aside from Unohana, as we now soon find out.
Yeah, that's true. And during the fight, we did get a little bit more clips of Uryu reading the journal and being all sad, or poor boy.
Realizing that Quincy's and Soul Reapers can never truly get along.
Yes, even though he tried to live up to what his grandfather wanted and Soul Reapers and Quincy's working together, but yeah, what his grandfather wanted is probably not going to happen, since he realizes Quincy's were actually exterminated 1,000 years ago, not just 200 years ago.
And some other info we get onto later on in part 3.
Indeed we do.
Ichigo basically tries to stop Yuhabaha, and he puts up a good fight and gets knocked down. Yuhabaha goes for the kill, only to find he can't kill him, because Ichigo seems to have blood vein.
Yes, since and Ichigo was able to figure out that, Yuhabaha is the most important opponent here, and just like hones in and goes right for him without really knowing why.
Classic mistake, Ichigo, classic mistake.
Yep. And Yuhabaha realizes he fucked up in having Kilgay deal with Ichigo, since Kilgay's Quincy spiritual pressure was able to mix in with Ichigo's and awaken the dormant Quincy power within Ichigo himself.
And so, left with no other option and being out of time thanks to Aizen, he departs, saying that he will come back for him. His son born in the dark, which is very ominous. And so, after basically a sort of funeral, I suppose, because they couldn't find his body for Yamamoto, the Soul Society left wanting to do, and Squad Zero decides to make an appearance.
They do indeed.
You see that quite a few of them know each other, such as Tenjiro knowing Unohana and who she really is.
Yes. We will see her darker side.
They take Renji, Rukia, Byakuya, and Ichigo alongside his broken Zanpakuto to their little palaces, with some help from some rockets flown by Kakaku Shiba. And Ichigo's like, why am I doing this? Aren't there any normal people around here?
Oh, totally. They also get Kon along for the ride, who popped up in the Department of Research and Development for some reason. Who knows how he got there or where he's been since the last canon appearance he had, since the Mod Soul season doesn't count, since it's filler, but, Yeah, he hitches a ride with them after Hisuke is trolling and using Kon as a phone.
Why is this coming out of my head?
But at least Ichigo was able to know that Orihime and Chad were all right, so he could, make the decision to go to Squad Zero and get his sword fixed.
Of course, a familiar face makes his presence known. Is that Ichigo? Let me see him. Let me fight him.
Fight me!
Poor Chad or Orihime trying to do distractions like frying rice,
Yep.
staking maracas. Question, where did Chad get the maracas? Where was he keeping them?
I don't know. I didn't even know he had them.
Plus, I have to wonder if Kisuke had them on hand and just handed them to Chad and was just like, just do a distraction.
It's possible. Kisuke is a troll. And while he's trolling them, we see Kenpachi being summoned to fight the original Kenpachi Zaraki, Retsu Unohana. Or should we call her Yachiru Unohana?
Ah, yes, Retsu. One of my favorites of the whole the captains. And we find out why she's so feared, because she's a scary cleric in more ways than one. In fact, she's so scary, I decided to get a figure of her and put her in my bedroom on the manga bookcase.
Oh, really? Well, that's cool. So yeah, picture of the Unohana figure.
Rule number 1 of Bleach, don't fuck with the cleric. One of my favorite battles from part 1 has to be Kenpachi and Unohana. Oh my god, that battle was so good.
That battle was something. No, I couldn't see much of it, but just the intensity of it and all the emotions flying back and forth, and it feels like a very intimate battle. They have love for each other, and the fighting, it just brings them love and joy and bliss.
I agree. It's very, I can't live with you, but I can't live without you.
Yeah, for sure.
And it shows a side of Unohana that's been touched upon throughout the whole anime. There are moments where she exudes this scary aura to make people do what she wants. Like, yes, ma'am, okay, we'll do it. It's even the moment where Uryu's like, some of the Squad 4 members asked me to make some clothes, and I said no problem. See you later. What if that was Unohana just basically threatening, was like, if you don't make these clothes for me, I'll kill you. I know every pressure point in your body, Quincy boy.
Yeah, I know. Even Uryu is scared of her when she asked him to help out with the beach party and the one filler episode. He's like, yeah, yeah. When Unohana asks you to do something, you do it.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, even Uryu knows how dangerous she really is, and not to mess with her. Because oh boy, in this fight, just the tone of her voice and the venom, it's oh, she is just so much darker than, the Retsu we've grown to know.
She basically shows why she was a captain of the first 13 guard squads, because there's a ferocity to her. And also a sort of morbid elegance to it as well.
Oh yeah, she is sure something, and that is one crazy battle. And it's not an Uryu battle, because, those are much better and more pretty, and we get to see our boy. But, yeah, this was a battle for sure. It's right up there with the Uryu ones.
No kidding. I mean, it's like a twisted dance, you could almost say it is. Like two doomed lovers battling to live on while the other dies. And sadly, as we know, the winner of that battle is Kenpachi. But I'm just going to say Unohana went out in absolutely beautiful and spectacular fashion. And that's why she's one of my favorites. Hands down.
Oh, totally. She's pretty cool. I mean, it did seem like a pretty awesome, good climactic battle. I couldn't see, a lot of it, but I could see all the blood. And, yeah, all that emotion, oh, man, you could really feel it.
Yeah. Patrick Seitz poured his heart into it. Ichigo goes through the healing. He and Renji, once he's healed, albeit being barely able to stand, and poor Byakuya gets yeeted into a hot spring, a blood red hot spring, I might add.
Oh, totally.
Worst bed manner ever, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, that's even worse than Ryuken's, which is saying something.
At least Ryuken never threw his patients into a literal bed, quite literally.
Nope,
That we
but
know of.
no, but he did stop harpies from bringing his son dinner.
True. And at least restored his son's powers.
That too, though he did also shoot him with an arrow.
True, so not exactly perfect bed manners, but it's better than that.
Yeah.
Ichigo obviously lost in thought about what Yuhabaha said, and kind of feels bad about eating when everyone else is suffering, and Renji just snaps him out of life. It's like, stop whining and just eat. Otherwise you'll never be able to battle.
Yeah, Renji figuring out that the feast is actually part of their training and that, the food is imbued with energy to help rejuvenate them from the very much slimmed down Kuryu, who they're like, who the hell are you?
Even Shinji, when he saw her, was like, who are you? You don't look that different at all, when he realizes who she is.
Yeah, like, who are you? How do you know who you are? You like, yeah, because, she's the previous Squad 12 captain before Kisuke was. And
like, you don't look different at all. Please don't hurt me.
And then, of course, once they're finished eating, they're off to see Oetsu Nimaya.
Who I swear is like a funnier version of Konami, who can actually see.
Yeah, I guess so.
He's entertaining. He's very entertaining.
I suppose there is that. So, yeah, they try to get their swords fixed by him because, he's the creator of the Zanpakutos. And he tells Ichigo that, yeah, this isn't going to work for you. Go home.
It's mostly because Ichigo didn't get his powers or his sword's powers in a traditional way compared to Soul Reapers.
Yes, and that Ichigo is not actually a Soul Reaper, and he needs to, go back to his roots and figure out who he is. And he's like the only one who hasn't figured it out yet.
And he finds himself back home outside the Kurosaki clinic. Has a bit of a heart-to-heart with his boss, who notices that he seems depressed. It's like, you can talk to me if there's anything wrong. Which is kind of true for real life as well.
That's true.
And of course, Ishin catches up to him in his Soul Reaper gear. Drags him back home and starts to tell him everything about the Kurosaki family, how he met his mother,
yes,
and why he has Quincy powers.
Yes, let me tell you the story of how I met your mother. She's a Quincy.
You're a wizard, Harry. Wait, wrong thing.
You're a Quincy Ichigo. And now, shall we talk about what we've all been waiting for, Ryuken? Past Ryuken, yes. Who is very fluffy.
Yes, everything but the rain. Starts off with Misaki, basically eating at home, much like her son. And a very strict Izumi Ishida. Boo hiss, if you ask me.
Indeed. And Ryuken coming in looking very much younger and fluffier and be like, Mother, I could hear you all the way down the hall.
Mom, just shut the fuck up.
Yeah, treat Misaki with some respect. Like, come on. Don't take your anger out on her. It's not Misaki's fault. It's not Misaki's fault that Soken is a absentee father and husband.
Daddy issues 101. Must be a Quincy.
Yes. 101 for the Ishidas. Daddy issues.
Yep. And maybe mommy issues in Uryu's case.
Those two.
Of course, we see Kanai at work, and he confides in her about marrying Masaki.
Yes, his future wife is maid to the Ishida family, and she's a mixed blood Quincy as opposed to them being pure blooded.
And he, of course, talks about his responsibilities to the Quincy line. Rather reluctantly, I reckon. I get this feeling he loved Masaki in a platonic fashion.
Yeah, I do think that he did love Masaki. I mean, he does really care for her, and he, tries to protect her in his own way by trying to get her to not go and run off to this fight of the Soul Reaper and Hollows that they're sensing. Since, they're the pure-blooded Quincy's, they're not expendable. They need to wait until the Soul Reapers have finished up, or send in the mixed-blooded Quincy's like Kanai to handle things so that the pure blood of the Quincy line isn't lost.
And Masaki is like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. If I don't do something, my future self wouldn't forgive me.
Yeah, that seems to get to him, and he seems to want to go too, but he's really does have the whole weight of the entire Quincy race on his shoulders, basically, being the heir here and needing to continue them on. Yeah, and I feel that it's all that responsibility and that upbringing he has of waiting and not stepping in until it's absolutely necessary to preserve the pure bloodline, that is probably why we don't see him intervene more in the rest of the series when he's an adult, is that having that mindset of not getting involved until it's necessary for him as a pure-blooded Quincy, in how he doesn't really help Uryu until the Menos attacks him and helps him regain his powers, since he doesn't want his son to die. That's the future of the Quincy's, or doing anything about Aizen trying to destroy Karakura Town. He just stays out of it, and I think his upbringing is probably a big part of why he does that.
Yeah. Generational trauma. Gotta love it.
Yeah, for sure. And all that responsibility, man, he's got a lot on his shoulders, that's for sure. Such a young age, too, at this point.
Of course, we also see Ishin as a captain to Toshiro, and Rangiku being his lieutenant.
Yes, Ishin Shiba, the captain of Squad 10, 20 years ago.
He heads out to investigate and finds a mysterious new hollow called White that looks rather familiar.
Indeed it does.
He basically dispatches it, but not without a little bit of help from Masaki, and he struggles against it.
Oh,
Masaki
yeah.
offers herself as bait to the hollow. Once he bites down on her, she shoots him.
Yes, she pulls out that bow with the iconic Quincy sound that I love so much. But she gets hurt pretty badly herself, which causes a lot of trouble and problems, and yeah, it's not good. It's not pretty.
That's not going to have lasting effects for the Quincy bloodline at all.
No, it's not.
We see Kanai and Ryuken in their Quincy outfits. From what I can tell, Kanai wears a dress that's very similar to her maid outfit, except it's all in white. And aside from her usual shoes, she wears knee-length boots, I'm gonna guess, but it's got steel toe to it, and on the heels as well, which obviously would probably help her move around more. On her hands, she's got elbow-length gloves, And around her neck, she wears like a blue tie with a Quincy buckle on it. And for her bow, I'm gonna say that it's quite wide in length and width. But it's got like a circle that connects it like a hoop. That's basically where she holds it. It's a lot wider in design compared to that used by Ryuken or Uryu, for that matter.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, I could not see her outfit at all because it was too dark, but yeah, thanks. We do have Ryuken in his Quincy look as well, which I also can't really see, but I do have him in Brave Souls, where it's kind of like the what if he had actually helped out and done something to save Misaki, which, he's so pretty.
Indeed. And we see where his son gets it from. They're both so pretty.
Oh, totally. You gotta love him.
Ryuken and Kanai quietly observe, and Ryuken says, "Nothing happened here. Let's head back."
There is nothing to report. Don't go off and tell my mother about this. But she goes and does it anyway, since Misaki is pretty gravely injured, and Kanai feels that only one of Ryuken's parents will be able to heal her to preserve the Quincy bloodline, which is of the utmost importance to them.
We see Misaki have dizzy spells to the point where she actually collapses, and a hole appears in her chest.
Yes, Ryuken is so distraught, and you really see where Ryu gets it from here was how he just like grabs Misaki up into his arms and runs right out of the house, like to go try and figure out something to do against his mother's pleas for him to come back and to not to go and to put that thing down.
Excuse me, she's not a thing. It's Misaki Kurosaki.
Yes, indeed it is. But yeah, Ryuken just jumps into action and runs off with her because, he's pretty upset and scared for his supposed to be fiance.
Ishin sees that there's a hollow behind them and attacks him, and of course Ryuken goes off the handles like, "You caused this!
You stay away from her, you Soul Reaper. Don't touch her."
Alright, Ryuken, chill! You need to chill. Seriously, I get you worried about her, but chill.
Yep. And then who should appear to troll them but Kisuke.
Alright, break it up, you two. I can save her, but it'll cost you. He basically says that there is a way, but Misaki will never be back to normal, much to Ryuken's horror.
Yeah, because Ryuken's like, yeah, like, come on, you said you could make, like, Misaki normal again. He's like, yeah, I never said that. Your lady friend's not gonna be the way she was again.
He brings out what is essentially a Gigai, but strips away his Soul Reaper's powers and makes him human, so that he can keep the hollow in check as long as Misaki is alive.
Yeah, since Quincy's don't have any, like, antibodies against hollows of their own, and they can't really do anything about hollow poison, which is extremely deadly to them, so without any intervention, Misaki would just hollowfy and soul suicide and all that, and Ryuken figures out what has to be done here, and he is very surprised. He's like, there's no way anyone is going to make this choice. Like, no one in their right mind would do this. He's not gonna save her.
Ishin be like, yeah, I'll do it. Even he's getting like, wait, what?
Yeah. Ryuken is extremely surprised and shocked, like, okay, like, who are you? Are you insane? Like, why would you do this? There's nothing in this for you.
And Ishin just basically responds that if he didn't do it, his future self would never forgive him, mirroring Misaki's words to Ryuken.
Yeah, they're very familiar words to Ryuken. He probably is, sounds like Ishin is like Misaki to him.
And he realizes he has no choice but to let this happen.
Yeah, and, hearing those words again, probably Ryuken is like, well, now his future self is never going to forgive him because he didn't step in and stop this when he could have. And, he didn't do anything to try and save Misaki. And he probably feels very bad and guilty that this is happening to her. And yeah, like he probably can't face his own future self. So, those words are probably really hurting him right now.
So he leaves Ishin to essentially look after Misaki and heads home feeling very dejected, like he
Yeah.
failed.
Yeah,
Poor boy.
he meets up with Kanai and says that, like, you're gonna have to tell my mother that her son could not protect the Quincy's.
But Kanai is very astute and says, I'm not doing that. And don't you dare say that kind of thing. It breaks my heart hearing you say all that stuff. I can't bear to see you cry, Master Ryuken. She's always loved him, basically from the moment they first met as children.
She has, and he seems to love her too, and, well, we know he marries her, but, since, like, yeah, she is also the only option left for a Quincy marriage to keep their bloodline going, even though she's a mixed-blooded Quincy and not a pure-blooded one, but I think he really did love her, and marrying her was probably more so his choice than what his mother would have wanted.
I suppose, if you think about it, marrying Kanai was his first real act of defiance to his mother, aside from trying to save Masaki. So this was pretty much him saying, fuck you for making me do all this for you. This is going to be my rebellion, in a sense.
Yes, definitely, because, we know he, like, turns his back on the Quincy's just because, yeah, he's done. And, marrying Kanai was actually probably the better choice since, like, even though she does have mixed blood, her blood did also have, like, the antithesis that Uryu inherited, and she was able to sacrifice herself for her son, so the Quincy bloodline could live on and give the Quincy's a future with Uryu.
Mm-hmm.
Since, at first, like, she was okay, and then she collapsed to save Uryu, who went down.
Oof. Poor Ryu. Poor Ryuken for that. That man
Yeah.
goes through it.
Oh, yeah, totally. Because, we did get a little bit of June 17th at the end of, like, this uh, Ishin story to Ichigo, and though he focused a little more on what happened to Misaki on June 17th, that she should have been able to save herself because she was a pure-blooded Quincy with Blutvena, and Kingfisher shouldn't have been a match for her, but then he tells Ichigo about Ashvalin, and Yuhabaha's Quincy selection process is what really killed Misaki and losing her powers, as well as him taking Kanai's powers, who then grew sick and died from that. So, yeah, we did hear about what happened to Kanai there a little bit. With, I believe, her and Uryu's picture?
Yes, she was holding little Uryu in her arms and she was smiling.
Yeah, so we had a little bit of them there, and now we know the full story of what happened with Kanai and Uryu and Ashvalin as well from the end of Cour.
Yes, the blood he inherited from his grandfather and his mother.
Yes. Our poor boy. We did also have a little scene that was also expanded upon at the end of Cour of Uryu with that very intense look of his. When he's looking down at the journal in the rain. And we get to see a bit of Ryuken as well.
And even he had an intense look in his eyes.
Yeah, we see Yugrim with Uryu, and then we see Ryuken finding the journal, discarded on the wet ground, and Uryu gone.
And he's like, fuck.
Why
or
now?
It's more of a. You could also argue it's like him thinking of the one who took away his wife.
Yeah, and why can't I shield him anymore? Like, he's gonna do this. I guess I need to do something now.
And of course, we know he and Ishin eventually meet up towards the end of part 3. That's another review we can talk about later on.
Yes, it is. I mean, I could also link that too, since that was a good talk for my last words. But yeah, after hearing everything from his father, Ichigo goes back to the Soul Society and goes to get his sword fixed, and he has the very sudden, shocking realization of Zangetsu actually being a manifestation of Yuhabaha.
And they have a heartfelt talk together.
They do, they do. Zangetsu, best dad.
Indeed. And Ishiko decides to come to the realization, I won't ask for your strength anymore. And thanks, Zangetsu, for claiming that you are me.
Yeah, like Zangetsu being Yuhabaha and like the actually Ichigo's Quincy powers, and because he didn't really help him much for like all of Ichigo's fights. That was more the hollow within Ichigo that we see. The hollow is what becomes Ichigo's actual Zanpakuto. And just, like all that good writing of it's staring us in the face all along that Zangetsu is Yuhabaha, just like with everything.
Let's face it, he goes to speak his name, but it's muffled. Of course, we now know that what we knew was old man Zangetsu is in fact a personification of Yuhabaha.
Yeah, it's like Ichigo is like all upset, like, like, were you lying to me this whole time? Like, was everything you said a lie? And he's like, everything I told you was true except the name I gave you. He really was Yuhabaha all the whole time.
And Best Dad goes on his way.
Yeah, and Ichigo forging his two swords.
He's not the first one to use like two swords, obviously, because we got Kisuke, we got
Junsui.
but this is more of a manifestation of both his Soul Reaper and his Quincy side. Will probably turn the tide in the battle to come.
Yeah, and we see like the two swords. I think like the one is like more like your traditional steel, but the other one is like the black Zangetsu blade, yeah?
Think so.
It seems to be, which like that was also like glaring at us in the face from the start because like, every time like Ichigo would fight White Ichigo in like their inner world, White Ichigo did have that black Zangetsu that he used to fight Ichigo with.
Mm. The horse and the king, you could argue.
Yeah, and just like all these little plot threads that have been there like the whole time that are just there and waiting to be pulled together at like the right time once you know everything and see how it comes together.
Say what you will about the writing of the manga, but you can't deny that Kubo was thinking like 10 steps ahead.
Oh yeah, totally, for sure. Like it's all there. You just need to know to look for it. Throughout even the original series.
Indeed.
And then we have back at the Varvelt.
Ryu Yuhabaha awaits the target in question.
Yes, Ugram, yeah, brings in the target with him. The target is right here. We see
certain shoes. We see the certain shoes. The white cape of the Stern Ritter.
And then we see from the back our boy kneel down to Yuhabaha, the Quincy King.
Who calls him his son.
Yeah, Yuhabaha. I welcome you, Uryu Ishida. Now then, let us fight together, my son.
Nick Uryu's like, yes, let's. Well, don't pay attention to the knife I have concealed in my cloak, so I can backstab you when the time is right.
Yes, indeed. And we have Uryu stand up before the Quincy King, looking very beautiful in the full Sternritter regalia with the cape and everything.
He makes it look good.
Oh, he makes anything look good. He's so beautiful.
He gets it from his dad, and he gets it from his mom.
Oh, for sure. I mean, he is a very snappy dresser, but again, so is his dad. They're both very fashionable.
Oh, too true. Too true. And I don't get the fashion sense from Izumi.
No, but yeah, I mean, like even Renji comments on the snappy new look that Uryu has when he appears again and they have their fight.
True. That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Uryu's intense eyes and how he has to act so cold and set his emotions aside to fight Renji and then Ichigo. You can definitely see that he's a lot like his father and where he gets his looks from.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. To be honest, he kind of acts how he did when we first meet him in season 1, when he challenges Ichigo. But to be honest, he has more of a softer side compared to Ryuken, which I think that he really gets it from his mother, and also has her eyes and hair color.
Yeah, I mean, that would seem so, especially with she has the darker hair color since, Ryuken's hair is white. Yeah, except for that one scene where it's not.
Yeah, I'm not too sure why they did that, but I'm going to put that as like an animation error on the original anime's part. I also noticed that Uryu's Sternritter look kind of varies in the manga. Basically, from what I could tell, Uryu's Sternritter look had a very different kind of look to it. In the manga, I could see he had like knee-length boots, and he did have some pants that just were up to the knees, but mostly concealed by the boots. I think it's similar to the one that you see in Brave Souls at the moment.
Yeah, it is pretty different from like the anime Sternritter look where he does have like the full pants all the way down to his ankles and then like his Quincy shoes like under the Sternritter uniform tunic. I mean, like, you described it better, so I don't know if my theory holds as much water. Yeah, from what I could see of the manga look or the Brave Souls look, it seemed more like his legs were more exposed, and that seems to be like a little bit of like, I guess, like a faux pas or inappropriate for like Japanese standards. So him, like, if he did have his legs exposed with like the longer boots and then like not like, maybe showing a bit of skin under that tunic, like maybe that's why they changed the anime look to be the more like longer pants, but that's just my theory. I don't know if it's really that sound though.
I did find a panel of Uryu in the manga. I think it's based on when he actually fights Ichigo in the anime. From what I can see, the coat's a lot longer. It looks more like a trench coat than an actual coat because it goes all the way down roughly to around the knees, besides the anime where it finishes near the waist. He's got like knee-length boots instead, so I'm guessing that's basically the look that he gave for the Brave Souls unit, just without the cloak.
Yeah, so my thoughts were that between the long trench coat and the boots, his legs are probably exposed, and maybe that's why they changed it. Because, like I said, that's not really something that's very well received in Japan.
And also, to be honest, looking at it, you can't help but notice it looks kind of like a certain party from World War II that basically caused people a lot of harm.
Yes, indeed.
So I wonder if that's why they went with the more traditional look that he has later on from the anime, where it's just the pants and the shoes.
That's possible. And I mean, the pants and the shoes are also very reminiscent of his original Quincy looks from like Soul Society and Wake Up Mundo. Or at least the shoes,
Indeed.
especially the shoes.
And how about Ryuken this season? I'm just going to put this out there. When I first saw Ryuken in the anime, I didn't like him at all.
Oh yeah, me neither. Like, he was so cruel to Uryu, and he did shoot him with an arrow.
True, but to be honest, when you look at how he was when he was younger and how he is now, you can't help but wonder if generational trauma has a lot to do with it. Because Izumi was very strict towards him, whether we see it or not. She put a lot of pressure on him.
Oh, for sure, definitely.
I can't help but wonder that when Uryu was born, Ryuken vowed to never let his son endure what he did. Unfortunately, if Auswahlen hadn't happened, maybe he could have been a lot more happier. Maybe if Kanai hadn't died, the family would have been happy to go on with their lives.
Yeah, you would hope so. I mean, oh man, poor Ryuken. Like, he does go through a lot, and he's much more likable now that you see more of who he is and why, how his past has affected him and why he does things.
Yeah, imagine if Uryu had died in Auswahlen.
Oh, I don't even want to think of that. Our poor boy. Our poor cute little boy.
To be honest, if something had happened to him when in Auswahlen, I think Ryuken would have been near impossible to stop, because he would have been planning murder and revenge against Yhwach. And I don't think even Kanai would have been able to stop him.
Yeah, I mean, there probably wouldn't even be a 1,000-year blood war if Ryuken had his way in that kind of situation.
One-man army Ryuken. He's just gonna John Wick everybody.
Yeah, because, it is surprising that Ryuken is not a special threat, because, even though we don't really see him do much, he is supposed to be extremely powerful, being a pure-blooded Quincy, and just, all the knowledge he has from Soken.
I agree.
And everything. He is able to restore Uryu's lost Quincy powers from Lady Stele.
Mm-hmm.
And, just his knowledge and power, he would be a force to be reckoned with if he actually gave a damn and wanted to help out. But, again, also, I think his upbringing does kind of stop him from doing that until, it gets personal and, Uryu actually needs him.
Yes.
Since, he does go into the Varvelt with Ishin with a certain thing prepared to help Uryu with.
Mm-hmm. Part of me kind of hopes we see more about how he found Kanai and Uryu when Auswahlen happened.
Yeah, it would be nice to see more of Auswahlen, though poor Uryu, having to watch his mother be dissected.
That's gonna cause some trauma.
Yeah. It would be nice to see more of how he makes that special arrowhead, but
we do see him holding those silver, I'm gonna say droplets, but they're not really droplets. He just clenches them in his hand, this quiet determination in his eyes.
Yeah, when he's looking at their photo, it would be nice to see more of him with that. We probably won't, but it would be good to see more of Ryuken and what's going on with him and him being there to help his son.
Yeah, what makes him tick?
Exactly, yeah.
Because he's quite fascinating once you get past what he's like.
He is very fascinating. And pretty. With the white hair. Indeed. And all.
With that being said, Brave Souls, give us more Ryuken units.
Yes, please.
Yes, Uryu has many, and we need some of him. But Ryuken needs some love too. He's only got 2.
Yes, he only has 2. The past one of what if he had intervened with Masaki and used his powers, and then the traditional him older in his white suit and stuff.
I mean, nothing wrong with that, but still.
Yes, I mean, they're not the best units because that one's kind of old, so it would be nice to have a newer Ryuken unit who can stand up to all the newer, more powerful enemies and stuff, but we probably won't get that. Uryu himself also needs a seasonal unit, damn it.
Agreed. Agreed.
Or Ryuken too, like, I'd take a seasonal of either of them, or just give us Kanai. Like, give us the Ishidas, come on.
Any of the Ishidas, except for you, Izumi.
Yes.
Screw you.
We don't need her, because, even a Soken unit would be cool.
Oh yeah, I agree.
But nope, Ishidas don't get love in Brave Souls.
No, unfortunately.
Ryu does have 10 units, but a lot of them aren't very good anymore. Yeah, our boy needs more love. Speaking of Brave Souls units and wanting Ryuken to have more, do you want to show you a picture?
Yes. Since it's very unlikely we'll see various / alternate versions of Ryuken, I decided to draw my own, which is based on what they call the Cour Society. He's basically meant to be in what's supposed to be 1700s fashion from England. He's got a white-grey coat, black pants, grey waistcoat, blue waist belt, blue/grey blouse, and neckerchief with a little Quincy buckle attached to it. He's got white gloves in his hands, and he wields a fencing foil which has a blue edelweiss carved into the guard, as inspired by the flower that represents his sun. He's got his hair tied into a mini ponytail with a gold ribbon, and his coat, waistcoat, and pants have got gold detailing, and attached to the waist belt is a little scabbard for the rapier, or fencing foil, however you want to say it.
Our prince is very beautiful. You did a very good job drawing him.
Thank you. Give us Ryuken or give us death. Actually, don't give us death.
Yes.
Because I don't want to end up like Mayuri. Thank you very much.
Yes. Just so we can get Ryukens, we gotta stroke the man's ego, probably do this kind of video about him, or do another fandom so we can get him.
Indeed.
It was kind of funny when you were calling like a unicorn before with how temperamental he is and how we can't get him.
I know. And when I finally got him, like, yes, finally.
Same here, because a bit of a funny story with my Brave Souls account, but like the one I had started, I got rid of because like it was on the wrong server to play with you.
Yeah.
So I made another one to be on the right server, and I got, of course, our beautiful anniversary Uryu for like my free like first 6-star unit, which was great to have him from the start. But on my like dead account that was on the wrong server, I actually got Ryuken for that.
Typical.
Yeah, so I got Ryuken for that, and I didn't have that anymore after I switched the account over and made it like the new one to be on like the server with you. And after doing that, Ryuken was the very last Ishida I got. I did not see him again until after everybody else because I pissed him off by deleting him.
Like, okay, I see how it is. You don't want me around? Fine, I'll make you wait for me.
I know,
I was
right?
afraid that was what it was like with me. It's like, oh, you want my son more than me? Fine, I'll wait and see until how long it takes for you to finally get me.
Or he was taking out his frustrations of me deleting the account to go on the other server to play with you on you too.
It's possible. Or maybe he was too busy shooting Ishin just to get his frustration.
Oh, maybe. Ryuken. We love him. Even though he's not the best dad, we still love him.
We love him, faults and all.
And today should
And
be
happy
his...
birthday.
Yes.
Happy birthday, Grumpy.
Today should be his birthday, so happy birthday to Ryuken. Also, with your Ryuken art, you did phenomenal with the two of us here.
Yeah.
That I did not actually touch on before, but yeah, today's art we have a everything but the rain feature with Tifa. You're dressed as young Ryuken. Yes, young Ryuken, and I guess that's like his more like school look that he was wearing.
I think so, yes.
Whereas I am adult Ryuken in his nice lighter suit, and a bit more of my Thousand Year Blood War, like, Uryu hairstyle there. Yes, very great job on us with the art for our Everything But the Rain feature.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I think that's all we need to talk about this episode.
Yes, we were able to talk about Ryuken and feature a lot for him with cour 1 that the parts of him we did get to see, as well as, talking about Uryu, of course, and everything else that happened in cour 1. It was quite the season.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said at the start that the opening was very much like a movie, or to me it felt like that kind of like, just that more like theatrical value to it, especially like with the visuals and the song number 1 and like everyone being featured. But I also think the ending had that kind of impact too, like with Ichigo reforging his sword and putting like old man Zangetsu to bed and being at peace with it, and like also number 1 playing at the end here as well, and with the credits playing and the whole after scene with Uri and Yuhabaha, like that also seemed to play out like a movie, and just to like be a treat for the fans.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It also felt realistic seeing the casualties we got.
That too,
Seeing,
except for Byakuya.
but in a way, you could argue characters like Byakuya and Izuru are forever scarred by what they went through.
That's true too.
We've never seen someone like Byakuya be reduced to feeling despair.
I know, right? Like,
most of the time, he's just this cool, calm, and collected warrior. But this was the first time we actually see Byakuya scared. He was crying as well. That's how bad it got.
Yeah, he was. You could just hear it in his voice. Like, oh man, he was just scared and falling apart. And it's just like not the kind of thing you want to see from such like a noble guy like all the time,
Absolutely. Let's face it, we even see emotion from Kenpachi when he was battling Unohana. He shed a few tears here and there, and when she was dying, you could hear him desperately begging her not to leave him.
Yeah, like his cries of like, don't go, don't leave me, like, no, you can't die. Like, oh man, Patrick Sates nailed it.
Absolutely freaking lootly.
Just, oh, so good. Like, yeah, like cour 1 was like a great introduction back into the series, and it really did like shine a lot, and how it is a good step up from the original, even though it is very dark. Like, it seems to be on like a bigger scale, like like all the dark tones of the war going on, and just like how it's presented. It's just, I don't know, it's just bigger and better.
Like, the stakes are higher, the danger is far more personal, because before, Ichigo's enemies were those who didn't really affect him per se, but those around him, like Aizen with Rukia and Orihime, the Fullbringers basically involving Chad and Orihime, basically everyone of his family being brainwashed into thinking a certain person was part of their lives. But this time, Yuhabaha basically strikes at the core of who Ichigo is.
Yeah, he is out for blood and he wants to kill Ichigo. And like, yeah, like there's Yuhabaha, who turns out to be someone Ichigo knew and cared about, being like, the Zangetsu he thought he knew. And the threat of the Quincy's, who are, he's known Uryu like all this time, and has, considered the Quincy's like an ally, especially with Uryu, and then like them fighting against him, and then, later on in cour 2 and cour 3, even Uryu himself turning on Ichigo and fighting him, like that betrayal. Absolutely. And it is so personal. It goes places.
And then to top it all off, he finds out that his mother could have easily have defeated the creature that killed her if it hadn't been for Yuhabaha stealing her powers. So he essentially signed her death warrant.
Yes, just like with Uryu's mother.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, this is definitely way more personal and higher stakes, and oh, it just goes places. The arcs are just, oh, they're amazing.
Oh, chef's kiss. Just chef's kiss all around.
Oh, totally. The writing is so good.
Mm-hmm. We actually hear them curse as well. We hear Kisuke yelling shit at some point. There seems to be a lot more cursing in Thousand Year Blood War compared to the previous anime. I think Ichigo even drops it at one point.
Oh, possibly.
Now we just need to hear Uryu drop a few bombs.
Oh, yes. Maybe in Cour 4. Maybe. I mean, you know Steve's mouth sometimes from some of his other characters.
Should we start calling Uryu Baby Gangster, just in case?
We sure could. I mean, like, I didn't touch on it when we were talking about them, but Ryuken and Kanai very much have a Fumihiko and Peko relationship.
Yes, that's true. I didn't realize that.
Like, you know, the whole her calling him young master, being like his bodyguard and like his sword.
Does that make Misaki Akane? Because she's got that kind of vibe with him.
Possibly.
Well, to be honest, I think it's more like Fuyuhiko's sister.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Mind you, I can't really say that because Fuyuhiko's sister is a lot different compared to Misaki. To be honest, I cannot actually say that because obviously Ishin shares his voice actor with Nekomaru, who is shipped with Akane, and they have the same kind of vibe, so...
Indeed they do. But yeah, you know, like, just like the devotion Peko has for Fuyuhiko and how they like grow up together and it's like always been together and she like is his bodyguard and protects him. It's very much like Ryuken and Kanai.
Absolutely.
But yes, we shall have a lot more fun discussion for Uryu for Cour 2. I mean, he's not in it as much, but like, oh, there is the feel, like, you know, the whole betrayal thing.
That scene.
Yeah, that scene, all right. It is felt throughout, and oh man, it hurts.
Especially when you see him hesitate when he sees Orihime and Chad.
Oh, totally. But yeah, that'll be good for our next discussion once we watch Cour 2, and we can talk about that.
Yes.
For our little, I guess, kind of lost episode since, you know, we started doing these like episode 3 of Cour 3, so we got a bit of catching up to do.
Yes.
Or no, sorry, episode 4 of Cour 3 was where we started.
I really only joined in at that round then.
Yeah.
I have a few things to add on about the other episodes, but we'll get to that at some point.
Yeah, so we're just going over these like bits that you weren't like part of since I only brought you in at episode 4 of Cour 3. Yeah, so you know, we're just going back through these and next time probably have another original episode next time before we get to the Cour 2 discussion. Maybe. We'll see. Yeah, this should hopefully go up on Ryuken's birthday.
Yeah.
And unless there's anything else, happy birthday, Ryuken.
Happy birthday, big guy. My wish for you is to treat your son with respect and love. But I think that probably would break him if that happened. Just picture Uryu just getting a surprise hug from his father, like, who are you? What did you do to Ryuken? What the hell is happening? If you're a changeling, get away from me.
Yes, I don't know, like, maybe he'll hug him after everything, you know, like, I'm happy you're not dead. That you actually survived, like, the whole double agent thing, you know? Yuhabaha didn't kill you. Yeah, you know, like, yeah, Ryuken hugging his son for his birthday.
Much to Uryu's horror and slight disgust, is like, you denied me love for all these years and now you want to hug me? What is wrong with you?
Well, you know, they do spend New Year's together and go to the shrine and have
Probably
a family moment
though.
at that time, but yeah.
You could cut the tension with a knife.
Oh, totally. Yeah, are there any other like final points you want to touch on?
At the moment, no. That I can think of. If I do think of something, I'll discuss it next time.
Fair enough. So, yeah, on that note, we will be back for either a more original discussion or Crew 2 whenever we get to that.
Yes. Yes.
So, until then, thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.
Bye.